Okay guys, in this video we're going to have a look at transformations, but a little bit more specifically translation. So transformations, there's 4 different types of transformation. Translation, which is this one today, rotation, reflection and enlargement. Okay, so we're going to have a look at one of these called translation. And the key thing with translation is that the shape does not change its size, does not rotate, does not flip. It doesn't do anything. All it does is just move. And there's 4 different options. It can move up, down, left, or right. Okay, so it's quite easy to spot a translation if you're ever asked to describe one, because to say it's just moved. And to describe how it's moved, we use what's called a column vector, where, as you can see here, these are all column vectors. So there's a number at the top and a number at the bottom. And what these refer to is the more general term that I've got over here, where the top number is the x value, and that tells you whether it goes left or right, because if this is the x-axis, you can go left or right, and the bottom number tells you whether or not you can go up or down, so that's in reference to the y-axis, where you can go up or down. Now, if this top number here, which is referring to the x, is negative, you go left, and if it's positive, you go right. If the bottom number, the y value, is negative, you move the shape down, and then if it's positive, you move the shape up. So I've got a couple of examples here of of column vectors and what they need to do. So let's have a go at them. So the top number is positive, so it means I go 2 to the right. And the bottom number here is positive as well, which means I go 3 up. Okay, so that's the first one, nice and easy. Next one then, so -1, so the top number is negative, which means I go to the left, and because it's -1, I go 1 to the left. And then this one here, positive on the bottom, and it's a 4, so positive means I go up, so I go 4 up. And last one here to have a look at, -3 on the top, so it's negative, which means I go 3 to the left. And the bottom one is negative as well, which means I go, well, it's -6, so I go 6 down. Okay, so that's just what the column vectors mean. So that tells you whether to go left, right, up, or down. So if you have a look at an actual example, this one here. So here's my shape. Here's the vector that I'm going to translate this with, -3, -4. So it means I'm going to move the shape 3 to the left and 4 down. Okay, so different ways you can go about this. I just choose a point. I'm going to choose the top there. And I'm going to move this 3 to the left first. So 1, 2, 3, and get there. And then go down 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 brings me here. So this point moves here. Okay, now you can do the same thing with every single point. So you could do this one here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's absolutely fine. Alternatively, and some people do this, absolutely fine. Just make sure I'm not moving it. Get a bit of tracing paper, and you can trace the shape like so. There was my original point that I started with. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and again you can just make sure that you've lined up properly. I would use a ruler to do this in the exam, but I'm just going to do it very freehand now. Okay, so there's that shape which has been translated there. Another example, here's my shape A, and the first thing we'll do is translate it 5, 0. So what does this mean? Well, the top number is 5, so remember the top means if it's positive, I go to the right 5, and then it's 0, in which case it does not move up or down, it stays exactly the same height, it doesn't go up, doesn't go down, it stays exactly the same. So again, I'm going to choose a point, I'm going to choose this one here, the top right hand one there. I'm going to move this point 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, So it goes down. Just a reminder, the 0 doesn't move up or down, so it's just going to go to the right. Same thing with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And with this corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And lastly, this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, you'd use a ruler in the exam, but just to save time, I'm going to do that. And that's going to be called my shape B, because sometimes they ask you to do another one. And here's my other one here. Okay, so this bit here has gone 2 to the right, and it's negative, which means I go 3 down. So I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to go there. This point here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 down. This one here, 1, 2, across, 1, 2, 3. And lastly, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 down there. And again, I'm just going to do it freehand. And that's going to be called C. Okay, so don't worry if it overlaps the axes. Absolutely fine. You haven't done it wrong. Sometimes that's just what they want you to do. Okay, so that's that example there. You can use tracing paper at any point to test these. In the exam, you're entitled to have tracing paper. So if you want it just to check or help you, make sure you do obviously ask for that. So that's just how you actually translate. What you might also be asked to do is describe a translation. I'm just going to make sure that is still in line. Yeah, that's fine. So it says describe the transformation that maps shape A to shape B. So A to B. Now, because it says transformation, it could be any of the 4 that I mentioned earlier. So rotation, reflection, enlargement, and translation. So for the first mark, you need to say which transformation it is. Now, it's quite easy to spot that from A to B, it's going to be a translation because it's just moved. So for the first mark, we say it's translation. So 1 mark in the bag. Now, what information do we need to do a translation? Well, we've just been doing it. We need a column vector. So that's what we need to work out to get the second mark. So again, just choose a point, choose the same key there, choose the same point on the other shape here, and see what happens when I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across to the right. Remember, if I'm going to the right, it means it's positive. So 5 to the right, so 5 on top for the x value. And then 1 down. So if I'm going down, it's -1. Okay, so 1 mark for saying it's a translation, the other mark for saying what the column vector is. Let's have a go at A to C. So again, I've spotted it's a translation. So 1 mark for saying translation. And with the translation, we need to know our column vector. So let's have a look. Well, I'm going A to C. So this time I'm going from A to C. So I'm going to choose the same point at the top of my triangle there. 1, 2, 3 across to the right. Brilliant. So there's +3. How many down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So -5. And last but not least, just make sure that the reason I put this one in here is just so you read the question. It's not always A to B or A to C or anything like that. You know, sometimes you do go back on yourself. So read the question and make sure you are doing the right mapping. This time I'm going from C to B. Okay. So again, translation for 1 mark. Seems like a trivial thing, but people always forget it and always do lose that mark. So just make sure you are doing it. And then again, I'm going from the top to the top. So I go 1, 2 across to the right again. So, yep, +2. And I'm going to go how many up? 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So +4. Remember, positive means you go up. Okay. So that's a little bit of a insight, guys, of how to do translation. Hopefully it helps. Cheers.